Good morning, Hojo staff, students, and families. Yaatepin, ready to start our day? Please rise. Take your right hand, put it up on your head. If you have a hat or a hood, take it off. Place your right hand over your heart. Eyes are on the flag, voices are off, bodies are still, and we recite the Pledge of Allegiance together. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. Good morning, everyone. Today is Thursday, April 16th, and we're ready for some announcements. First of all, I have to apologize. Although we have no birthdays today, we did have 2 birthdays yesterday that somehow got missed. So thank you to the families who let me know, and we double-checked our list. So we have Isaac in 2nd grade. Happy birthday to you, sir. And Tristan in 1st grade, happy birthday to you. Gentlemen, my apologies for missing your birthday, but happy belated birthday to you. I hope you had a good day. Okay, let's listen to some music. Mrs. Neff has chosen a selection for us for this week, so let's go ahead and listen to that. Okay, friends, what are we listening to? Did you say Vivaldi's Four Seasons and the season was spring? That is correct. Nice job. Let's listen to something that we've learned in the past. And tell me, what is this piece that we're listening to? Okay, friends, what are we listening to? Did you say Carnival of the Animals, The Swan by Camille Saint-Saëns? That's right. Nice job. If you listen to those 2 pieces of music, do you see how different they are? One is very lively and you get one image in your mind, and then the other is very soft and gentle and you get a different image in your mind. And the first one titled Spring, and the last one we just listened to, The Swan. So when they compose music, they have a feeling, and when we hear it, we hear a different sort of feeling. All right, so for art this week, behind my shoulder, you see that selection there? Let's wheel on up a little closer. Take a good look. Make sure it's not as easy to identify it when we're here at the school doing it over the video as opposed to it being hung in the art room so you can walk by it and see the selection of the week. But hopefully you remember that the title is Gleaners and the artist Jean-Francois Millet. Nice job. All right, for a poem this week, we've been listening to Henry Wadsworth Longfellow's The Midnight Paul Revere's Ride, which took place at midnight. So, and it starts with the words, "Listen, my children, and you shall hear of the midnight ride of Paul Revere." Remember, we said it took place, that Longfellow was writing this poem 100 years after the event took place of Paul Revere riding through the Massachusetts countryside to warn the farmers and merchants that the British were on their way and they needed to take arms to defend themselves. And so we've heard that he had his friend go to the Old North Church that we will visit one day, and that he asked his friend to put a light in the belfry up in the tower. 1, if the British were coming by land. 2, if they were coming by sea. And what did we find out already in the poem? How many lights were lit in the belfry? 2, right? So they were coming by sea, at least initially. And then Paul Revere was waiting across the shore. He had rowed across and he was waiting there with his horse and is all impatient and, buckling, unbuckling things, trying to get ready to go. And finally he gets the notice that yes, 2 if by sea. So now Paul Revere is riding through the countryside and he's going to go through to some towns, and you'll hear Medford town, town in Massachusetts, Medford, and he talks about another town called Lexington, and he talks about a river called the Mystic River. And so those are 3 places that are identified, and I'm going to read you the next 3 stanzas of Paul Revere's Ride by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. A hurry of hooves in a village street, a shape in the moonlight, a bulk in the dark, and beneath from the pebbles, in passing, a spark, struck out by the steed, flying fearless and fleet. That was all, and yet, through the gloom and the light, the fate of a nation was riding that night. And the spark struck out by the steed in his flight kindled the land into flame with its heat. Do you think there was really a flame? What do you think is happening there? I want you to think about that. He has left the village and mounted the steep, and beneath him tranquil and broad and deep is the mystic, meeting the ocean tides, and under the alders that skirt its edge, now soft on the sand, now loud on the ledge, is heard the tramp of his steed as he rides. It was 12 by the village clock when he crossed the bridge into Medford town. He heard the crowing of the cock and the barking of the farmer's dog, and felt the damp of the river fog that rises after the sun goes down. It was 1 by the village clock when he galloped into Lexington. He saw the gilded weathercock swim in the moonlight as he passed, and the meeting-house windows, blank and bare, gaze at him with a spectral stare, as if they already stood aghast at the bloody work they would look upon. So he's talking about the meeting house, how it had windows, and they had a spectral glare, like an otherworldly stare, ghostly stare, as if they already stood aghast at the bloody work they would look upon. Do you know what it's called when a poet or an author of some kind takes words and he creates an image that gives human qualities to something that's not human? So obviously a meeting house, a building, cannot stare, and it cannot be aghast, and it cannot look upon things. So what's that called? Do you remember? Personification. So, and I had mentioned about the fate of the nation that was riding that night when Paul Revere was on his horse. And the spark struck out by the steed in his flight kindled the land into flame with its heat. There's no real fire, right? It wasn't actual fire. But he's creating an image, and he's sharing a notion that something very big has happened. It's the spark, right? That's how something starts. And so there was a spark of something that started that day. And in April of 1775, that this nation, moving towards declaring its independence, was going to stand up and fight against the British and assert their freedom. And so that was 100 years before the Declaration of Independence. So what I would like us to do is go ahead and recite that Declaration of Independence together today. So all together, with me, not by myself, not you listening. No. Make sure you're saying this along with me. When in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them. A decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute a new government, laying its foundations on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and accordingly all experience has shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government. And for the support of this declaration, with the firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. Nice job, everybody. Okay, so readathon. Keep up the good work. As we said, we have some new prize levels, $1,500 for a pencil, $3,000 for a art kit, and we have some people who have just made it to, or science kit, we have both, have made it to the 3,000 club. So that is Savannah in Miss Rice's class, has just earned her 3,000 mark, so nice job there for you. Harshit is now in the 6,000. Kimber, you're so close. Keep reading. And Elijah, Christian, Damien, Kelly, Tate, Clinton, Sophie, Sophia, Chloe, and Reese all in the top. Some people were close. Jaden in Miss Wilson's class, you're almost there. Keep going. Jacob, you too, in Miss Stefke's class. Keep reading. All right, friends. Keep earning those prizes. That's all we have for today. Remember, you can keep coming to get your breakfast and lunch or exchange your books. And hopefully you're doing well with your online work, giving at least an hour a day. Make sure you're staying safe and staying home until we have further notice that it's okay to come out, and we'll resume school again one day soon. In the meantime, let's say our student pledge. I will do the good, I will learn the true, and I will love the beautiful. And I hope you have a great day.